very kindly offered to give us a talk and potentially a demonstration on making a website using a different R package to the Quarto system and how that can be hosted using Netlify. So yeah, I will hand over to Claire.
Thank you, Megan. So it's going to be a bit of a presentation, but also mostly a demonstration. And I was thinking I'll probably share the PowerPoint afterwards with all the steps written now. So people then, if they don't have time to watch the whole video, they can just follow the steps. So I'm going to share my screen. Can you all see that first?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's working fine.
I'm trying to put it. Do you see in full screen or is it still PowerPoint?
It's still PowerPoint at the moment.
Right.
That's better.
That's full screen.
Cool, perfect. So yeah, welcome everyone. So we're going to have a look at, so it's a bit similar to what Ed did, was it in May, I think. So using Quarto and hosting the website on GitHub pages. So it's a bit similar, but there's a few differences that I've identified. So it's something that I've made my own website with Netlify and Distill about 2 years ago. So it was before I knew anything about Quarto and or any other way to make it. So I thought it'd be interesting to see how else you could make a website using different methods. So what you'll need if you wanted to do it along or even just after the meeting or later, all you need basically is a GitHub account and the GitHub desktop app. It's easier. And then just R&L Studio. You don't need anything else. And obviously, if you want to do it now, if you have some text samples, any pictures that you want to see on your website or anything, something random, if you want to just practice, that's all you'll need. So Netlify basically, so it's a remote cloud platform where you can build and deploy websites and web applications. So the basic account is free, but obviously if you want to get more perks, you can pay for premium, but for just publishing one website, you really don't need to pay, so you can just keep the free option. And then the Distill package, so it's a free package on R that you can just install and load. And so it's optimized specifically for scientific and technical communication using R Markdown. So I've seen quite a lot of examples of, besides personal websites, also people writing, basically having articles as web pages. So you can have the list of authors, the date and everything, and even the references section at the end. So it looks quite nice. So this package is specifically made for it. So it's also quite useful. So now we're going to come out of this display and what I'm going to do is show how to do it from start to finish. So basically, if you go onto your GitHub desktop app, then you can start a new repository. So we can, I'm just going to call it website, just not web-based website, that'd be nice. And you don't want a README file, otherwise your website won't be published and you don't actually need it. So don't take that. Then you can choose where you want to put it. I've got a folder where I have all my GitHub repositories, so I'll just put it here. And then you just create it. Then if you want, you can publish it ideally on your cloud. You can keep it private if you want. It doesn't have to be public. So I keep mine private usually, but that's an option depending on what you prefer. And then just click on publish. Slowly but surely, cool. And then in the Explorer, so we can see that's for now the repo. I like to add, I'm pretty sure for people who are familiar with GitHub Desktop, having a gitignore file is quite useful for the sake of not having GitHub Desktop registering changes, even if you've just opened the document, because this is quite annoying. So I'll just create it. No. That's it, right? Yeah. Cool. And then we'll just add this couple of instructions so it doesn't register changes we don't need. Then just close it. Right. And then so if you go on your GitHub online, you can see the website repository has appeared. So that's what I want. It's all good. So now what we're going to do is create a new R project. So it's basically making an R project. It's a bit like Quarter. You have your R project and a lot of different files attached to it. So in that way, it works relatively similarly. Okay, run later. I'll need to ask IT to install the new update. Obviously. I don't want to do it now, thank you. Oh God, it's being annoying. So because I've already created my folder website, I'll just go and create it inside it. So if I go into my GitHub repos, I've got website here. So that's the folder I want. Create project. It keeps telling me to do that. It's really annoying. Anyway, cool. So now you've got your project. It should be also in here. So you've got it here. So for some reason, there's a build website tab that is usually in here, but you have to close it before and reopen it before you can see it. So I'll just do that. I'm not exactly sure why. It's a bit of a weird one. And then what you do is that you want to install package Distill. About the match, but the do I need to put the I do. Yeah. So you don't need to do it all the time, especially when once you've got your website up and you just want to edit it. You don't need to load the package each time. It's only to actually use the first creating website function that you need to load it. Otherwise, later you won't need to load it anymore. But after that, we load it. No, not digest. Still. Right, and then that function that we use is create website. Oh my God. What does it mean? That hasn't happened before. Does it mean that it's not going to work? Oh my God. It's still working, that's fine. So then you can enter the directory name for your website. So I'll just call everything website for the sake of it. And then a title for your website. So you could call it my website, or I would call it, for example, Claire's website or something like that. I'm just going to call everything website, just for the fun of it. And there you go. So what it's done, so you've got a new folder in your files called website. And in here, so you've got your project, and you've also got two RMD page, which are basically going to be where you're going to put your text. And similar to the Quarter version, you also got a YAML file where you've got more details of the name, the title, and also like if you want a navigation bar on the top, you can give more details here. So this is where you're going to put the text and everything. So you can put art chunks as well, but for a website, personal website, it's not really what we want necessarily. So I've got a little sample text here that I'm going to copy paste from my website that I'll show you later. So for those of you who are familiar with R Markdown, so it works exactly the same, obviously. So if you put 2 asterisks around the word, it will make it italics. If you put double asterisk around the word, it will be bold. So those 2 brackets followed by the link in parentheses is going to make the link embedded into the word. So it's basically work like our normal R Markdown file. And then if you wanted to put a picture, so same as Ed's presentation, to put a picture, you put exclamation mark, text to display. So we'll put headshot, for example, of Claire. And then obviously we want to actually add a picture. So what I'm going to do is in my website folder, I'm going to drop a headshot of me. Hopefully, yeah, it's also appeared in here. So, and then I just need to put the path to that image. So the name is just headshot.jpg. I need still to put website headshot.jpg. Or maybe I not need to put website. Yes, it works. So picture of me. So once we're happy with what we have, we can knit the page. So when you've done modification and you want to update your website, don't forget to knit your page, otherwise it won't be registered. Obviously that picture is way too big, so we can adapt, add something behind the path to make it a bit smaller. But basically this is what it looks. You've got your 2 RMD pages become 2 different tabs, and then you've got the legend of the picture, and then your text. And then if you're happy with that, you can also personalize the site .yaml file. So if you wanted to add more stuff like link to social medias to your navigation bar, you can do that. And you can also, something that is quite nice is obviously the default theme of the website is the same for everyone, but there's another function you can use, which is create theme. Oh my god, yes. And then you give it the name you want, so I'll just call mine Claire theme. There you go. So it's created a CSS file, and you can basically edit the font size, the font color, the background of every single section of your website. You can also edit the color of the header and the footer, everything you could potentially want. You can change it. So for example, if I wanted to change the color of the background, there's a specific way and places to put it. So it's after this first bit, background, spelled correctly, I believe, background hyphen color. And then for my example, I like having some kind of light green. F, which one's it? D, yeah. So then if you save it, and then And when I knit again, I should have a new background, hopefully. Hopefully. Come on. Yeah. So it's not really visible, but I promise it's actually some kind of light green. But yeah, you can basically change everything that you want to change. If you want any part a bit bigger or smaller or anything, you can just edit everything here. It's really cool. And then if you want something, actually, I know why it's not working. It's because I forgot to add it to my YAML file. I actually got some notes and steps and I forgot to do that. So to actually have it visible, you need to add a little command at the end of your YAML file. And so I've called mine Claire theme. Right, if I save that, so this time it should work. And it should be a bit more obviously light green. Why is it not working? Where did the Claire theme was saved? Huh. It's there. Just I think it's because it's not in the right.
Does it need to be inside the website?
I think so. So I'll just drag it here. Oh my god, yes. All right. So this time you should actually find it. Because it is, yeah, it is with the rest. That's why it didn't work. Okay. Because I've done my website 2 years ago, so I've had to practice remaking a website from scratch. So it's a bit tricky. Don't know if it's more obvious, but I've done everything to do for it to actually work. So it should work. Okay. So yeah, I've knitted all my pages. I've done the changes I want. So if I go back to GitHub desktop, so it's registered quite a lot of changes. So I'll just call it first commit. And then push it to the origin on the cloud. Right, so if I go back to here, should say, yeah, I've just done first commit just now, so it's all on GitHub. So now what I'm going to do is go on to Netlify. So you can log into Netlify with your just your email address and a password, but you can also link your GitHub account, which I think is much easier when you want to deploy repositories from GitHub if you're logged in with your GitHub. So I've already got a website here, but I'm going to do a new one. So what I do is I click on add new site from an existing project. And it's a project that I'm importing from GitHub. Authorized, and I got the website one. So I just click on it. I'll just give it a name. So that's basically the web address of your website. So it needs to be something that is available. So website that's going to work. I'll just call it that, and it will have .netlify.app at the end. So it's available. So that's fine. So I only got one branch, and it's the main one. And then what I want to publish is this specific folder that has all my files and RMD files, YAML files, and everything in it. So I'll just write which one I want. And then I'll deploy it. And then basically, yeah, you can see here, it will update and say published when it is. And then once it's deployed, if you want, you can also set up a custom domain. just for the sake of not having the .netlify.app at the end, but obviously it costs money, so I haven't done it, and you don't have to. I think it's still looks quite like a clean web address despite the .netlify.app, but if you wanted, you could. And then the further step is secure it, but for a personal website, I think it's not super necessary. And yeah, with the basic plan on Netlify, I think that there's a limit of how much megabytes you can have, but just for one website, it's fine. You don't need that much. Am I the only one who got a notification saying that the spoken language settings is incorrect from Teams? I think Teams doesn't like my accent. So rude. That's so rude.
It seems to be getting what you're saying correctly, so
yeah,
I don't know.
There might be a few mistakes on the way. I don't know. Right, it's a bit slow, but hopefully I'll pick up. Has anyone already had made a website, personal website, or just anything project website before? Or really?
I tried. I'll go on, Tom.
Not using R, no.
I have been learning HTML and CSS. I made like a little personal homepage with links to all the things I have to try and find on a very regular basis.
Mm-hmm. These are quite nice because once it takes a bit of work to actually make it, but then to just keep it updating, it's just a couple changes, and then once it's actually deployed, if you anytime you push a change on your desktop app to the cloud, it will then update automatically. You don't have to go back to Netlify and click on a button. It will do it automatically, so you don't have to worry about it. That's also quite nice. Because when I made that website 2 years ago, I was not using GitHub Desktop because I didn't know how to use GitHub. So each time I was making a change, I had to delete the website and re-upload it, which was so dumb because it took just so much more work. So having GitHub Desktop is so much nicer. Oh, God, I can't believe I was doing that for so long. It's really slow. It's not usually that slow. I'm not sure why it is so slow. Come on then. It's not a very big website as well. There's literally nothing in it. Well, in the meantime, I'll show you my website, just so that's something a bit prettier and a bit more finished. So that's the one I have. So with the YAML file, you can add your social media, and then it's the icon. So then you can just click and it will bring you to your different social media. So you can add pictures, and then different colors. I've got different pages for different bits. So it's very simple, but I think it looks. For what it is, I think it's quite simple to make, and it depends how much stuff you want to actually have on your website. But I think it works quite well. Still not doing it, is it? It's not working. Pushed it, didn't I? Why is it not working? I think I know why. I'm just going to drag all of this. It's made a problem with the CSS files before. So I'll just get rid of that extra folder, push it again, and see if it works. Yeah, the start, it takes a few trial and error, but then once you've done it, it works much better. Okay. Next, cool. Let's try again. Oh, there you go. It's trying again by itself, which is nice. Hopefully it's going to work this time.
I like how it shows your GitHub commit message as well.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really well linked, I feel.
Yeah. I swear, whenever you try and do something live, it takes 10 times as long as when you do it just by yourself.
Yeah, I practiced like 2 or 3 times redoing from the start to finish, and it was not that long. I swear to God, it was really not that long. But in terms of how, whether you should or shouldn't, it's your choice. But between this and using Quarto and GitHub Pages, so obviously I don't know which one is the most recent. I don't know how long Quarto and GitHub Pages have been around for. This is relatively old. I've learned to do it using resources that, like, there's a researcher in the US called Lisa Landway, and she did like a full tutorial, and she's done her website using Distill, and that's what I used to actually do it. And it was back in 2020, so it's old-ish. So I don't know which one is more recent and which one, which method is best. But something I've noticed is, compared to Quarto and GitHub Pages, is you can keep your repository private with Netlify if you want to. They don't really care whether it's public or private. And something, I don't know if it's changed, but when I looked back at the video that Ed did about Quarto and GitHub Pages, apparently you can only have one per organization. While for this, you don't have to have one GitHub page per organization, so you don't have to create multiple organizations each time you want to do a website. It doesn't seem to care about this. As long as it's a repo that is on your GitHub, it will deploy it without any problem. So that's the only differences I've noticed. So yeah, I guess this method means that using another platform, Netlify, not just staying on GitHub. But it's all free and it's worked fine for me for a couple of years now, so quite happy with it.
Have you played around with any of the other sort of settings on Netlify much, or?
Not really, because I feel like it's a lot of stuff that is not really linked to what I do anyway. And with just a normal standard account, there's quite a lot of stuff you can't do. So yeah, I've mostly been using it for publishing personal websites. I'm thinking of publishing other websites about projects and stuff, but I haven't found time to do it yet. So I think I like the feature of Distill being the technical and scientific package for designing websites, and I think I like to play with that kind of stuff, but I don't have the time yet. I just need to find the time to do that. Why is it so slow? I swear. It's usually not that slow. It's weird. Well, it's just going to say published, and then we can click on the link, so it's nothing that thrilling. But yeah, that's pretty much what I had. If you guys have any questions or something that you wanted me to show you in details, or Nope.
What were the things that you put in the git ignore file folder document thing?
Yeah. This one. Yeah. So it's just like commands that means that if you just open the file, don't make any changes and close it. If you don't have these, the GitHub desktop will register some random changes that you haven't made, and it's quite annoying because obviously like it pushes you to push this to your engine, but you even though you haven't done anything. So it's just like this is stuff that Ed gave me because I had no idea how to fix it, and this will mean that it's not going to push you to make changes, to make changes on GitHub if you haven't actually made changes on R. So it's quite useful, I feel.
Yes, I think I need that for every single R project I have. Oh, does anyone else have any questions? No? Okay, excellent. Well, thank you, Claire. I found that super interesting, and I think it's great to learn another way of doing things. And I think I might have a play around with that if I find time at some point.
Yeah, it's all about the timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks again so much for volunteering this week. Not sure yet if we're going to have a session next week, just because I have other commitments next week. But if not, either way, I'll send out an email and let everyone know what's happening. Yeah, and then maybe at some point, I've had a couple people express to me the desire to do like the boot camp, so we might start that up again at some point, assuming as there's new PhD students starting as well that might benefit from it. So yeah, awesome. Great. Thanks again, Claire.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone.
I hope everyone has a lovely evening.
You too.
Thanks, Ed. Cheers, then.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.